Chapter 17. The Annoying Wizard. This chapter was written from the point of view of Alan Cook. It has been almost a year since I started to develop the military and their war technologies. I received an additional 500 or so ships from the Council, and the Butts were able to produce 1,500 Armada-class ships within that time frame. Now our Armada is 1,800 ship total. As usual, the humans constitute just 10% of the crew, but they occupy mostly commander and engineering positions. The Butts constitute 40% and the Loonies 30%. The Laos a mere 20%. We now have an extensive and busy TP ships network. The TP lines were all redundant, with one line coming from the Looney side and another line swinging around towards the Earth side. There is a third line going to another Leo colony far from the Looney and Earth side. During this time, we have laid out an extensive network of more than 100,000 drone early warning positions, hundreds of mine deploying stations, and invisible RPC deploying ships. We have a training planet for each sub-empire. These Butts do not joke around. They are still angry. I was walking around my bridge looking at reports from the sub-emperors regarding training and ship construction. Roko ran into the bridge and stopped in front of my face. I stepped back. "Alan, we have to go and help the Tridents." Why do we have to help them?" I asked. I have now developed my relationship with Roko, and I found out the best way to relate to him is to question what he saw and make him doubt what he saw. If I am successful, he questions himself and starts to think more. If not, he just goes on like a speeding truck. They will be exterminated by the Punas. So what? The universe is a bad place. Species get exterminated all the time. I counted and realized I did not ask where these people were. Roko sensed me and said, "They are 500 MLY away." I thought so. No, you did not. Yes, I did. You only thought of it just now when you said I thought so, Roko countered. So you're saying that you said no, you did not, before I thought so? Roko stopped and thought for a while. Okay, you got me there. Why don't we go to the mess hall and you can tell me all about the Tridents over several steaks and brandy? This usually calms him down. Okay, let's go, he said happily. Gone is the emotional concern for the extermination of a species for a few pieces of juicy steak and smooth brandy. I also got some for myself. Tell me about the Tridents. The Tridents are important to us because they found a way to manipulate time. Roko said, seeing what I will ask in the future. You know I can't move out of the area without a direct mission order from the Armada Council. I told Roko. Lisa appeared beside me. Alan, I just got a new mission order. What? It says, help Trident. I stopped eating and for a moment I looked at Roko. I wondered what we needed to do to help the Tridents. They know. Roko said. Tell the ships we will move out tomorrow, 550 ships. Tell Maran to ready 1,200 ships to go with us. Lisa, did they include the coordinates? Yes, they did. I am communicating to all the ships now. Lisa answered. You know, Roko, except for Julio and Sherry, nobody in this Armada know about your abilities. And I do not know anybody in the Armada Council who has the same ability as yours. I told Roko. Her name is Olive, she provided all the information. Roko said, again seeming to foresee what I will ask. But Olive is our Armada Council AI. I argued. Now I'm confused. What's important is that you have a very caring AI. Roko said. Lisa appeared again, the Council will send a riot and will meet you at the coordinates. Lisa, can you ask Sherry and Julio to come over, please? I requested. What's a riot? Roko asked. This is a first. The way I understand them is that they are energy beings. We have one on Earth, his name is Super Smoothie, and we could not kill him. They came to our world in the hope that we can kill them. So this riot is coming to meet us hoping we can kill him. Look at this body armor I am wearing. They created this. I said. Sherry then Julio appeared beside me. Sit guys or get some food if you like. Sherry and Julio went to the food line. We will not be able to kill him. Roko said. So why will he come to us? I asked. To help the Tridents. Roko answered. When the two said, I explained the new mission and what Roko and I have talked about. Sherry looked at Roko. Roko, start from the top, basic information. Roko looked at her. The Tridents are creatures about your height, bipeds, 2 arms, and have wings to fly. Some have large wings while some have small wings, and these Tridents cannot fly. Their faces are like your owls, big eyes. They are mostly white-colored and have a very thin layer of very fine feathers. Some of their feathers change color depending on their emotions. They are very smart and their language is complicated like a code. They propagate like mammals, but they birth only 3 in their lifetime. Some females do not want to birth, so the state gets their eggs and fertilize them, then birth them. The state birth Tridents are allocated to those who want more kids or those who fertilize the eggs. They are organized like a cooperative and they take care of each other. Because of this cooperation, none of them are wanting of anything. They use cooperative credits as a form of currency and they have commercial cooperatives. They have 6 planets and 3 moons. Their total population is more than 50 billion and they do not have countries like you do. They created a kingship with an elected king because they want to be pompous and tradition-centric with their top leaderships. Not really a king, but more like a president. They are like the Laos, very peaceful, will never kill another creature and would rather leave than fight. Their defense system is a time bubble around their planets or moons. Nothing can penetrate it except the dimension gateways of the Laos, which is not bound by time. They can stay with a time bubble around their planet indefinitely because they have prepared for this. They do not have a fighting military. Stop. You are asking too many questions. You first, Alan. What about the Punas? Why are they invading the Tridents? I asked. All the usual reasons. The major ones are technology, slave workers, they eat them, and their whole planet is pristine with developed structures. They want their factories, which are very advanced, but not as advanced as the Laos. Sherry asked this time. Tell us about the Punas. Well, the Punas look like your tigers or cats. They usually have dark brown to black leather-like skin, 2 hands with 6 fingers, 2 feet like humans. They also have big round white eyes with a small black center. Some have red, some green eye centers. They have 30 planets and 5 moons. Total population is 120 billion Punas. They are organized as a kingdom with 20 sub-kingdoms. The Puna Council is composed of 21 kings, including the king himself and his 5 planets. Some sub-kingdoms have 2 planets and moon or whatever. They also procreate like mammals but have unlimited offspring, but normally one mother will have 18 total. They eat a lot of meat and they grow this bird-like animal which is similar to the Tridents. No, they are not Tridents, but a different species called Batu. They have another species that they have enslaved and these are called Tupuns. These species are almost all white, lanky with big heads and strong body. They control their planet nearby, which has 10 billion in population. They actually made sure the Tupuns procreate well and are fed well, and they choose the best for the slaves. Actually, another species feed these Tupuns called the lilies, and this species are also sometimes eaten by the Punas. They have a strong military because they impose military control of several species for their lifestyle. The level of technology is much less than the loonies. He stopped and concentrated on his favorite T-bone after his New York, which was his appetizer. We followed him and concentrated on our food. After a few quiet minutes, I think you two are thinking about how you want to deal with this in the most dramatic and funny way possible. I know, given it's really more of the same for us. Boss, stop reading my mind. Julio said. I have one already. Let's have Roko front for us and we will all appear like him, talk to the Punas and threaten them with a curse of the Bermuda Triangle. He will appear like a wise alien wizard able to predict the future, and he would tell them that if they cross the Tridents, a curse will fall on them and they will lose their ships and slaves and other things we want to get. Sherry said. I like that. Roko said. Will it work? I asked. Whatever you choose to do will work. I like this one because I take center stage. Roko said. If only to make you happy, I will approve it. I said. I think we need costumes, Sherry said, and Roko added, I like a flowing white robe with a wizard hat. I am thinking of medieval themed costume with swords and spears. Sherry said, I think your head is full of the book you're reading right now. Julio said, What book is that? I asked. Game of Thrones. Sherry answered, I read that book too, and I watched the movies. It's really good with costume designs, probably the best among all the movies in this area. Although I think the costume designs were more female-centric than male. I said, Boss, we can have all the movie fashion types. You can have an elven design from The Lord of the Rings, or royalty in the Kingdom of Man, or from Star Trek or Star Wars, and Sherry can have whatever. Roko will have his hat and white robe like Merlin in King Arthur. Julio said, I like it. Roko said and smiled. As I look at him smile, I realize the crew will see this as a solution to the boredom inherent in the armada. I think we should have only one movie at a time, let's say Game of Thrones for a month. The Lord of the Rings for the next month. I suggested, and the three nodded. I will have my people start programming the designs and theme into our AI system, especially for the other alien species. Sherry said. The next day in the mess hall, I noticed my people were dressed like royalty. I see the same people doing the same things I know that they do, but dressed like royalty. Somehow I noticed subtle differences in their mannerisms. I personally know these people, and I know how they talk or walk or gesture, and there is something different, something odd. I leaned in to eavesdrop on a group, and, my lady ensign Rita, I like the color combination of your tunic. Thank you, my dear Sir L.T. Frank. I nodded at Lieutenant Frank, and he said, Sir. As I made my way to my table, Sherry walked in the mess hall in a flowing white silver dress with embroidered designs. She even had a curved small sword strapped to her waist. For a moment I felt underdressed, even naked. Word gets around fast. I told Sherry as she sat with her food. Yes, and the ship AI is assisting them in their conversations to sound more medieval. Then I saw Miran dressed in a formal royalty but attire. She got her food and sat with us. The 1,200 ships are ready to go before the end of the day. Miran reported. Is that your royalty fashion? I asked. Yes, I have a lot of these, and I wondered when will I ever wear them if I am in a warship. Now this is the best idea Sherry has come out with. Miran said. I think we should have a fashion contest. Sherry said out of the blue. I did not respond because I am not into fashion and I know nothing about it. I agreed, but categories may be tricky. I will create a multi-alien committee on this. Miran said. Then I saw Julio in a golden tunic with red sash belt. The tunic had fine gold embroidery and silver piping. His pants were silver and he glowed like a light bulb. At least we will all die looking good. I commented as Sherry looked at Julio. I actually like dressing up while on an active kinetic war in a warship. Miran said. As long as we follow the theme and not turn the armada into a costume party. I said. After 5 days, we met up with the riot called Mo, who was being steadied by the Leos. He appeared in my bridge while I was meeting with Sherry, Julio, Miran, and Roko. We wanted to make sure Roko understood the issue and what to say and what not to say. Mo was wearing an old Armada uniform. We were still wearing our costumes since we did not know when he will come aboard. Hi guys, I'm Mo. He started. I introduced myself and my people to Mo. I like all your costumes. I brought thousands of Armada body armor for your crew. These are all in your cargo bay. Just now I told your AI how to program the body armor to your liking. Here, Roko, Miran, these are yours. Thank you, sir. Roko said. Thanks. Miran said. He instructed Miran and Roko how to put it on. Then he told the ship AI to program the body armor to appear as their outfit before the armor. The two appeared as if they do not have body armor. This is really nice. Miran said. Actually, you can instruct your AI to make your body armor appear as anything. But you have to be telepathic to get what you want exactly, and your AI should be able to pick up this telepathic waves. You are saying you can make us telepathic? Sherry was quick. Sure, just sit still and I will integrate with you. I saw Mo stood still for about 5 minutes. We were all waiting for him to do something. Is he integrating or what? Sherry asked. I don't know. I said. Maybe he went somewhere. Julio surmised. I don't feel anything. Miran complained. I spent a lot of time with Roko and I see he can see into the future. But not as developed. I will create a bridge box between your AI and you so you can talk to your AI telepathically. Your AI will talk directly with Roko's mind so your AI can see into the future. Since you're all telepathic, your ship can tell you what's in his mind. I am also creating a filter for your AI because I see that Roko's mind need to focus more. I also taught your AI to know how to ask questions and create the connections. Thank you, Mo. I heard Lisa speak. Are we now telepathic? Sherry asked. 5 minutes ago. You must know when to talk telepathically and when not to. Mo answered. Speak, guys. I said. I mean speak, not telepathically speak. I said consciously, sure, I am talking with sound. Sherry's costume turned to several costumes very quickly and Miran followed. Then I found Roko's costume turned into a cardboard box, then a formal royalty costume for their species. Julio just watched the three. I believe you are enjoying the costumes? I asked the three. This is so neat. Sherry said telepathically. Sherry, please talk. Lisa said. I also brought a Leo dimension machine. Sherry, it's in your hangar bay. I also created thousands of bridge boxes for all your ship AI so you can talk with them. You're saying all my people will be telepathic? I asked. In 2 days. Except the loonies. Mo answered. Why not the loonies? I asked. It's a practical joke on them. But I will make them telepathic before I leave. Actually, they will be all telepathic before I leave, it's just that they will realize it only when I leave. I also taught your AI to provide you mind exercises to keep your telepathy up to speed and not fade away for non-use. Mo, why are you doing this? In an hour you delivered energy armors, a dimension machine, made us telepathic and changed our AI on how they communicate with us. Miran asked. Miran, you are risking your life to make the universe a better place. You do not even know the Tridents, but you are willing to spend time, to work, and to risk yourself and your people to help them. Why? You are not getting paid to do this. The Tridents surely are not paying you to save them. The Council cannot pay you or promote you. This is one way to make your life easier and happier. Mo explained. Why is the Council doing this? I asked. Their first and foremost objective is to preserve the human race. The second is to make sure the universe is safe for its inhabitants and the humans in it. It absolutely hates slavery, oppression, and species who does these things. I have lived for almost 2 million years and the humans are a very special species. They have so many qualities that they do not even know are really good. I have seen so much evil and the humans are taking a position against evil. And they do it without fanfare or need for recognition. They perceive secrecy is needed in their objective to preserve and develop the human race while fighting evil. In a few hundred years, the universe will find out that the humans have conned them to believing they are a small and inconsequential species. And by this time they are anything but. Mo explained. They know. Roko commented. Think about it, in this ship are 5 species including me. In the future, more species will join your ranks. How did you come to this situation? The humans now have 4 colonies, how did it come to this? In one of these colonies, the humans have integrated to be part of a civilization, not just a colony, but a grouping of aliens where the sole purpose is the development of their species. How did this come to be? All in less than 2 years? Mo asked. They know. Roko said again. Alan, your armada will grow very fast and the Council will send more ships and even more ships. Several alien groups will join your group. You will be one of the greatest armadas in this universe and others. The other armadas are headed by people you know. The peace you will deliver will last for hundreds of thousands of years. Of course, now that Roko is connected to your AI, you will be the most efficient. So how will we deal with the punas? Julio asked, breaking the trend of thought. The same way you deal with anything else. Mo said. Not very exciting. Miran said. This means more of the same. No, this time you have nicer costumes and you are now telepathic. I said. Lisa appeared. I believe we need to go to the target area now. That means that Lisa asked Roko all the future scenarios, pieced them together and analyzed what is needed in the situation. Then convey the proper recommended actions. Mo said. Okay, tell all our ships we are going. The armada arrived in the Puna's home galaxy in 2 days. By this time Sherry has figured out the dimension machine but still was not able to create a dimension opening at a target coordinate she wanted. It was always off by several hundred to thousands of miles. At my mission room, several dozen of my commanders were present. Sherry told all of them to be quiet. Thank you, Sherry. As you know, this is a fight between the cat and the owl. There are 2 issues here. One is we should end the Punas ravaging the galaxy with their slavery practice, and 2, we have to tell the Tritons that the threat is gone and they can open up their warp time shielding. As usual, we have sent 2,000 spy drones down to the Puna's planets and 40 scout ships up to 50 MLY away in all directions to see their neighborhood. As you properly surmise, we would find subjugated planets around the area. And we have. As usual, we see slavers within 40 MLY and several by our planets. Sherry started talking. I received a dimension machine 2 days ago. It's this machine. A hollow image of the machine floated around. I was able to start it with the help of the Laos and open a dimension gateway in another dimension, but it was off by hundreds of miles, sometimes thousands, from my expected target coordinates. That's not really a problem if your target is 100 times this 100-mile diameter. The Laos explained to me that their solution to this problem is to create a base on the other side of the gateway and basically fix the coordinates in the machine to only go to this base coordinates. The trick is to make sure that the base on the other side is the best location you decide on. Then you can move around from that base location in the other dimension. Our people are still studying how to do this inside the same dimension correctly. She moved nearer to me. The warp time shield is impenetrable to anything that exists in space-time. It's like our energy body armor. This dimension windows tears an opening through our normal space-time and ends up in another space-time in another dimension or within our dimension. We would attempt to open a window inside the planet of the Tritons and make contact with them. We would use our small landers to ferry a few of us down. Sherry sat. From Sherry's presentation we can deduce that we might not be successful in using the dimension machine in time. This means we have to work with the Punas and fix the issues. It would need our standard response, but I want you guys to analyze the nuances and unique issues this time and address them properly. I said. Miran raised her hand. Alan, why don't we talk to them this time? We can talk to them as butts. But we are not sure if they will comply with a verbal request. And what will we offer them in exchange for their willingness to comply? Remember the Diamond Con? It went south simply because the enemy did not intend to honor their word in the first place. We can talk to them and do a curse at the very start and get all their ships. Like Roko appears as a wise alien wizard and admonish them. Of course they will just laugh at Roko and then he curses them. This time, Roko, follow the script. You must understand the difference between drama and comedy. They are the 2 faces of the same coin and you must know which face you are supposed to be. Julio said. I like to accompany Roko. I will appear as a sinister but well-dressed wizard witch. Miran suggested. If only for the well-dressed part. I will agree. Why don't we appear as Tritons instead of butts this time? I said, and the room became quiet. I think that's a very good idea. But we will keep your names Roko and Miran. Come on, let us see you. Sherry said. Roko and Miran changed to what looks like Triton royalty with very intricate designs and patterns. I think you need a wizard hat, Roko. And Miran, you need more jewelries. Sherry said. Roko appeared with a matching hat and Miran added a tiara and jewelries all over her body. I think 2 stars are born. Julio exclaimed and the people cheered. Miran, I want you to write down what you two will say and how you will say them. I said, and I looked at Julio. Okay, boss, the commanders gave me their take on the task at hand. They divided the areas to work on. Since we now have a lot of ships, they decided to allocate 600 ships with almost all our medical ships to the slave issue and the rest, or 1,200 ships, to the Punas. We realized that one of the consequences of all these activities would be that we will be depriving the Punas their major source of food and workers. Then the food for the Tupuns would stop because the lilies would be free. The Tupuns would have less food and the lilies a lot of food. Julio looked at me. We can start a barter trading system between the Tupuns and the lilies. I said. If we provided the two with ships, they will trade without us instigating anything. Sherry countered. If we remove their Tupun slaves, the Punas will not die. They just must now work to have food. The Punas created a system of dependencies that we will now disrupt, and all the major players will be in trouble. Miran said. Let's just leave then. I said. No, boss, we have to disrupt this oppressive dependencies. If we leave, we would be complicit because we did not do anything to ease the pain of the Tupuns and the lilies. Just let the wise wizard tell them what they are doing and what will happen and what they should be doing. Sherry said. We tell them the solutions to the problems we will cause them to have. Miran said. Everybody became quiet and looked at Miran. Let me quote to you Roko's take on his species. Their pain will never have an ending. The pain we will cause has an ending. I said. Yes, I remember, you did say that. Sherry said. Okay, let the wizard loose. Julio said. Miran, make sure the wizard stay on point. I said. The two stood together and appeared as holograms in front of the king. Roko and Miran appeared before the king in his study. The Puna king was with his military generals. They were all seated in a circle around the king's table. Greeting King Coco. I am the great white wizard Roko. Roko started. This is Priestess Miran, the red sorceress. You did not tell me you had the same name. Miran complained telepathically. It's Coco, not Roko. Roko answered back telepathically. Are we related? But you're a Trident. King Coco answered. No, we are not. I am here to tell you the future of your kingdom. Roko said. Okay, but before you start telling my future, what dress will my wife use today? Which one? I have only one wife. No, you have four. One is his wife and another his wife and the other your brother's wife. Roko pointed out to the two military officers. The military officers looked at each other. Your wife will wear red and his wife will wear red and your brother's wife will wear red. But his wife will wear yellow. Roko said. Coco ordered his staff to get the women. In the meantime, Roko told one of the general, your son is his son, pointing to the king. He faced the other, your daughter is his daughter, pointing to another general. He faced the king and said, your son will die tomorrow of his illness. I can cure him easily, but he only has today to live, so I am sorry. Your youngest daughter is your father's, so she's your sister. Roko said. Are we in a melodrama movie, Roko? Miran shouted in his head. These people are good actors and they live funny lives. Roko answered back. The whole armada was watching the drama unfold into a comedy melodrama. Sure enough, all the wives were wearing what Roko said they were wearing. The king turned to his wife and asked, is my youngest daughter my child or somebody else's? He threatened his wife with a gun. The wife started to cry and shouted no. She's your father's. The king did not seem to get angry and dismissed all the wives. I realized that since the females give birth to an average 18 kids, the chances of infiltration by other males is very high. Okay, what will happen to my kingdom? Coco asked, this time believing Roko. Do you believe me now? Go ahead. Coco answered. First you will lose all your ships to the void. This will happen in 5 days. Then you will lose all the Tupuns. This will happen in 10 days. And because you do not have your ships, you will not be able to get Tupuns to work for you, and the lilies will stop feeding the Tupuns because your ships in their areas will all disappear. Nobody will be able to travel among your planets because you do not have ships. You can build military ships, but once they are in orbit, they will disappear. Small commercial ship will not disappear. This will last for 100 years. I don't believe you. I thought you did already. Roko countered. I said go ahead and did not necessarily agree to believe you. Coco said. Anyway, your society must learn to live without your Tupun slaves. You have 100 years to learn this. Roko said out of nowhere. I decided to cut the hologram. I think you delivered the message well. Good job, Roko. Miran, good job. I said. Now let's head over to the Tridents. Sherry? Let's all go to my cargo bay where the dimension machine was set up. Sherry said. Several Laos were working on the machine and Sherry told them to open a window. Quite quickly, the Laos were able to open one. I guess they were practicing this all the time before we arrived. We all changed into Roko's species as planned. Then we shifted our uniforms to royalty garb complete with jewelries and medals. Roko shed his wizard clothes and hat. What we saw was a round window just outside the ship hangar bay. There were no borders, but inside the spherical shape was a world through a glass screen that distorts the image just a bit to distinguish from the regular space around it. It was like looking at daylight, a bit distorted, surrounded by space night sky. Forleos moved a lander ship near us and opened the door. Roko, Miran, Sherry, and I moved in and sat in the long benches on either side of the lander. A Leo piloted the lander through the window light, and we saw a very large planet surrounded by glimmering dome around it. The Leo set the ship down near a building that looked like a palace. As our group came out of the lander, we were surrounded by the locals. But they maintained a safe distance away from us. Then we saw several uniformed persons go through the crowd. Greeting, we come in peace. I shouted in Trident language. Follow us, the leader of the uniformed Tridents shouted at us. We all started walking when, why? Roko asked. It is so typical Roko that we did not even flinch or reacted. So we can bring you to the king. The leader answered. Why can't you bring the king here? Roko shot back. The uniformed Tridents looked at us, questioning. Because he's king. The Tridents answered meekly. I am a wizard and I tell kings what to do. Roko said. Okay, that's also true, no argument there. But I can't just tell the king to come here. The Trident said. Roko asked Lisa if she can teleport the king in front of us. Lisa said yes. Okay, I will bring your king in front of me. Roko said, and he waved his arm, then the king and queen appeared in front of us. The Tridents around us all knelt. Roko told me the king's name is Muro and the queen's name is Krani. Greetings, King Muro and Queen Krani. I shouted. Then I introduced my team. This is the great white wizard Roko, the great red sorceress Miran, the great scientist Sherry. These are our Leo pilots, Mino, Dami, and Kanto. I announced. Why are you here? The king asked direct to the point. Sherry answered. To tell you that you no longer have a problem with the Punas. They are now isolated from the rest of the galaxies and its inhabitants. I think you misunderstand some things. The Punas threatened to invade us and we threatened to imprison them. In the end, my people chose to just walk away from the argument and isolate ourselves. Muro said. Why were you arguing with each other in the first place? I asked. We told them we cannot stand slavers near our worlds. We told them to free the slaves and stop the stupid dependencies they created. They got angry and threatened to invade us. We could easily imprison them in the planets, but my people chose not to go to war and just isolate ourselves. We realized that if we imprisoned them, the slaves would also be imprisoned, and our people do not want this to happen. Now that the Puna issue is over, are you not going to remove your time shield? Miran asked. We don't need to because we like the light to shine all the time. Before we partially cover our planets with a time shield to redirect the light to the darker side of our planets. Now we have light all the time. Muro explained. We thought we need to inform you and be saved? I asked, looking suspiciously at Roko. I realized the mission order was to help, not save. Our ships can go out of the sphere any time. We can just open a small window enough for our ships to go through. But we don't need to. Right now we are building ships to create a fleet of ships so we can show the Punas we can fight also. We really do not need to be saved. Muro explained. You know, nobody has ever breached our time shield. How did you do it? The Queen asked. We have a dimension machine that can open a portal anywhere in this universe and any universe. Sherry said. And you moved me and my queen in front of you so you do not have to walk to the palace? Muro asked. That's easy. We do that all the time. Roko said. Why don't you invite us to your ship and tour us around? Muro asked. I would be honored. I said. If Roko had a rank, I would have demoted him 2 ranks down. After a 2-hour tour, we sat the couple at my reception hall and I gave Muro some brandy and wine for Crony. I'm impressed. Muro started. This drink is unbelievable. Your technologies are very advanced compared to ours, and I believe we can learn a lot from you. Your teleportation technology and invisibility capabilities is unbelievable. And we can learn a lot from you as well. Sherry answered. And do I understand correctly that the Punas are now under your control? Without firing a single shot from your plasma cannons? This is an unbelievable way of settling conflict. Muro asked. Well, not yet, but they are effectively isolated. If they venture out in space, they will lose their ships. I said. My wife will provide you with a beacon so that all your ships can go in and out of our planets through our time shield so we can develop trade and technology exchange. Muro said. We looked at Crony questioning. She is the head of all science and technology in our planets. Muro explained. The beacon will create a huge opening in our shield well enough for your ships to pass through. Crony said. I would like to invite you and your people to look at our ships and shipbuilding capabilities, our communications, and food production. Let's have dinner at my palace so you can meet my leaders. Muro suggested, and we all expressed our delight at this offer. Just bring a lot of the brandy and wine. He added. I brought all my key commanders, and Muro was surprised at the different species working in our armada. All were on point with our costumes. Miran was in her elements, behaving like royalty among the royals. We also brought a lot of our scientists to keep Crony company. The dinner went well and the food was good, especially for humans and butts. The Laos were looking for sweet things while the loonies messed up their food because of too many practical jokes among themselves. The scientists were all impressed as this was their first time to meet a top royal scientist. Crony appeared so happy listening to the scientists discuss technology she has never imagined existed. The next day, Crony toured our science ships with dozens of her scientists. The commanders made sure the Queen and her entourage were fed well at the mess hall. This went on for several days, including the tour of our scientists touring Karen's science facilities. I felt the bond between the scientists has become strong. Muro meanwhile toured us around their planet, showed their military capabilities, which was not much or not at all military as far as humans are concerned. They were all for show and not at all militaristic. We can't even call these like police level. They do not have a single military bone in their bodies. They simply are just peaceful and avoid conflicts like the plague. Just the same, we invited Muro to send several thousands to our ships to learn our ways, even if we are not sure that it will not corrupt them to become warriors.